Welcome back, listeners, to another brand spanking new episode of the 30 to Life podcast. It's your boy Mookie.
And your favorite color in the world, brown.
And thank you for tuning in to 30 to Life, where we break stereotypes, build legacies, and help others along the way. Our goal with this podcast, as you already know, is to redefine the Black experience. So we appreciate y'all for listening each and every day, not being stingy and giving to the needy, because everyone needs to hear the 30 to Life podcast. Now, Brown and I was just discussing Batman, or what's it called? The Batman. And Brown has some, I would say, hot takes about the Batman. So if anyone has haven't watched the Batman, spoiler alert. Okay, Brown, do your thing.
All I'm going to say is that this was the most horrible Batman of all the Batmans ever. Like, I would not see a part 2 of this Batman series. First of all, what is DC doing? DC's putting all these Batmans together in so close proximity that it's just ruining the entirety of their whole, I guess, just image.
Extended universe, what they call, cinematic universe. Yes.
Yeah, it's just. But anyway, let's go on this Batman. There were just so many wrong things about this Batman movie. One, like we were just saying, that he didn't look healthy to me. He looked like he was recovering from cancer. Like, he looked like he had chemotherapy 12 months ago and he just finished, and now he's trying to fight crimes. That's one. Two, that Batmobile was the worst Batmobile ever. First of all, Batman is supposed to be a ninja, right? He's supposed to be some secret service ninja of all the ninjas, right? So what stealth-like was that Batmobile? That you could see that Batmobile coming from the next city over, like that. Okay, all right. So that's two. Three, to move on. Three, the bat suit was corny to me. I mean, like he didn't even have no, like I get the whole thing that he was only his second year in. He's just learning the industry, I guess, or learning how to be a hero. He's still learning his fighting skills. But it was just, I don't like the way they put everything together. The best part about that movie was Lenny Kravitz's daughter, because she's absolutely gorgeous. That was the best part of the movie. But all in all, man, you said you gave the movie 8 out of 10.
Well, I gotta
go with a 2 out of 10.
I gotta rebut some of the things you said.
So what was good about the movie? Let's start with that.
But first, let me reply to some of the things you said. So chemotherapy, right? Yes. Don't chemotherapy shame. First of all,
no, I'm not chemotherapy. I'm just telling you what he looked like. He looked like he just finished.
He looked like a survivor. That's what he looked like.
He did. Yeah, he did. He just survived cancer.
Yep. He saved his life, and now he's saving others. So that sounds like a great Batman to me. Okay. Two,
he was pale as hell.
He was very light skinned. He was very pale. Like he hasn't had any vitamin D or been out in the sun for a long time, right? Yeah. I think that's just his complexion. Like I can't fault him for who he is, how he was born, right? But besides that, I thought it was a good Batman movie. I gave it an 8. I give it an 8 out of 10.
All right. And so in the context of all the Batman movies, where does that one stand? With Dark Knight, with Batman Begins, even the original honest, ones.
It's been probably about 10 Batman movies probably in total. If we add them up, including like Batman vs Superman stuff. It's like number 5 or 6 for me. Number 5 or 6.
That's not good though. To me, that's not good.
Well, no, because you got the Dark Knight trilogy, right? I would say all of them better than those.
Right.
You have Batman Returns, right, or Batman the original, and then it's better than all the other ones.
Nah. What ones is that one better than?
It's better than Batman and Robin. It's better than Batman Forever.
It's better than Batman and Robin.
Yes, that was. Don't look at it from when you was a child. And
I got to. I'm sorry.
Nah, watch it now. It's insane. Go on HBO Max, watch it now, and look how absurd it was. The daggone Batman suit had nipples on it. Like, you talking about the Batman and Robert Pattinson, like, or
Okay,
whatever his
what
name,
about the
Pattinson.
one with the penguin? But he's the what's the actor's name?
Danny DeVito. That's
yeah.
Batman Returns. That's my favorite Batman before the Dark Knight. That's my favorite one
before the Dark Knight. Okay, well, honestly, that's I can see why you do that. I can see why you do that.
Yes,
I can see that.
Everything before, basically before 2000, Batman Returns is my favorite, right? Because it was one, two, three, four Batmans, right?
Yeah,
we're not including like the 1950s and 60s Batman, but like the ones in the 80s and the 90s, like Batman Returns is my favorite. Then obviously we got the Dark Knight trilogy, and I think all of those are better than this one. Yeah, I'll put it either 4 or 5 in terms of the the ranking for me. Where you
I gotta put it last. I'll even put it before the ones in the 1970s, whatever, 60s is always dead last. Is the bottom of the barrel for me. This Batman does not look like he's intimidating at all. Like
you didn't like when spoiler alert again, but you don't like when he was like, I'm vengeance.
No,
okay. I thought it was dope.
The whole, I mean, honestly, I saw, so I rented it on Amazon for 2 days. I fell asleep on the first day because it was just not entertaining at all. It was just like, honestly, it was like watching paint dry. And then I was like, all right, I got to get through this movie to give it an honest effort. I got through it, and it was painful, man.
First of all, a person who directed it did amazing with Planet of the Apes. So I love the cinematography and the shots in here. And then 2, this Batman is in the second year. Like, what was you expecting from him? We got to see him in his infancy. We have to see him learning, making mistakes, having a horrible outfit, and depressed and all this other stuff like that. He's just starting. You remember your second year on the job, post college?
I don't want to go to a movie theater and see that though. I want to see some hard stuff. I want to be wild. I don't care about his childhood tribulations.
You ain't go to the movie theater. You was at home.
I'm glad. If I went to the movie theater, the first time going back to the movie theater in a long time, I'd have been missed.
You would have walked out, right?
It was horrible. I wouldn't have walked out, but it was. I'm never going to see this trilogy or whatever they're gonna do. This whole Batman series ever again. Zack Snyder, like he should have did it. Like,
I wanted to see Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he actually had a great rendition of Batman, right? When Batman versus Superman and how he portrayed him, like in those scenes, like the warehouse scene. And I mean, some people, whoever's first of all, we got a lot of listeners who probably do not enjoy what we're talking about right now. So first of all, hi, how you doing?
Okay.
And 2, we're wrapping this up right now. So I give it an 8 out of 10. Brown, what you get? You give it 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
So let's be in the middle. That's a 5 out of 10. Nah, I don't like that. I got to at least give it a 6.
All
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't win them all. I mean, it's free on HBO Max if you a subscriber. Like, check it out. And let us know your opinion of it. If you thought it was horrible, let us know. If you thought it was good, tag Brown at Brown to life _, and tell him that he don't know what he's talking about, because I thought it was good. I mean, it was a good reimagining of the Batman, but nobody can touch the Dark Knight, right? I think Dark Knight, there's 2
different world
superhero movies that are like 9.5 to me: Dark Knight and then Infinity War. That I love Infinity War. Like, that's my favorite Marvel movie. Like, I can watch that over and over. Did a phenomenal job.
I fast forwarded to the end scenes.
Oh, I fast forwarded for the end game. That I fast forward to that.
It's that last part, right? When Black Panther go Umbaya in there.
Umbaya. No, he's like,
he do that.
He'd be like, cap to your right. Yeah, I can watch that over and over. But anyway, speaking of Batman, he was an orphan, and he didn't get raised by his parents, right? And it just made me think about, like, watching the movie. I was thinking about, like, just lessons I want to teach my kids, right? And as you're raising them and stuff like that, maybe things that you didn't learn growing up and stuff like that. You always like thinking about that. What about you, Brian? Do you think about, like, the lessons you're teaching your kids?
I think about it all the time. My biggest thing is I want them to learn things that took me a while to learn. I want them to learn it sooner.
Yes. Yes.
Because I feel like if I could get them to learn it sooner, their life or their opportunities would present themselves a lot sooner than they presented themselves to me. And ultimately, it would lead them to a life of freedom that I am working hard to get sooner, you know. So yeah, like that, I definitely think about that a lot. Yeah, I
Do
mean,
do do you mentioned that you wish it was sooner. I'm curious, just because we came from like a similar family structure. Um, was there anything that your parents taught you that you didn't listen and you like, Dag, I should have listened to them now or
yeah, I mean,
today?
plenty of things. The thing that comes to my head most immediate is the fact that life is hard, and I really didn't know what that meant. Like
Wait, so tell me the age where you thought it wasn't hard.
I mean,
The latest.
I would say up until 18, you know, up until like 18, 19, maybe. No, I'm not even further. I'm gonna say up until 22. Yeah, up until
until you
22.
until you had to leave college.
Yeah, exactly. Like after college, like I just felt like the world just was like, yo, hold up, this is what it's really like. The veil just got lifted. Um, but yeah, like life is hard, and I didn't realize like how life was hard, and I didn't realize how hard I would have to work. And that's another thing. Like I don't want my children to work as hard as I do now. Like even though I think that there's benefits in working hard, I think um I don't want them to work this hard. I mean that's just the best way I can put it, because I work hard, you know.
Yeah, I think we definitely want our kids or the next generation always want their the next generation to have it easier, right?
Yeah,
Or and I think we changed the word from like working hard. We want our kids to work smart, right?
yeah,
Because navigating new corporate, you can see people who work very smart and do like half the work, right?
yeah.
When you first got into like the corporate America, he was like, oh, how that person moving like lightning through corporate America? How they getting these promotions, or how they building all these relationships and stuff like that? So sometimes it's like, we are taught to work hard, right? But we're not really taught to work smart.
Mm.
And that's what like the shortcuts to learn in life, right? So yeah, I definitely didn't think about until I graduated, like the responsibilities that you have once you like get out of college, right? You just kind of like, oh, this life is good. I'm 18, 19, 20,
Chilling,
21, not even thinking about it, right?
carefree.
And you got Sally Mae, or one of these loan providers just looking at it, it's like, yeah, these numbers really can't wait till he has to give us some money or whatever.
Salivating, yo, salivating.
Yeah, so yeah, but when I think about for my daughter, I think the first thing I want her to learn is like, her confidence, right? Like keep that confidence always at the forefront. I want her to invest in herself, right? Right, whether that's learning, reading, taking chances, risk, expanding herself, not being afraid to like just grow and develop, right? Because I think sometimes, as parents, sometimes parents can put their fears on their children, and it
Mm.
limits their potential, and they stay in that box, right? But I want my daughter to have the confidence to live outside of the box and look through things as the world is like her oyster, and she can attempt, right? She can fail forward, and just learn from that experience and continue to grow.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I think that I'm gonna do differently with my son that I didn't do with my daughter, and I wish I did. I wish that I hadn't given my daughter a tablet so early and let her use it so often. Not that she uses a tablet often now. Right now, her thing is the phone and the computer. But I wish that I didn't do it so much because it's so integrated into her life. And just like the phone is integrated into my life, I mean, I think it might be a normalized thing now.
By design,
But
though. Yeah.
yeah, but I know with my son, he's not going to have that same freedom with the phone and the tablet. like my daughter does. And it's unfair, yes, absolutely. But as you get older, you evolve and you learn. And I noticed that it might be beneficial to say, hey, all electronics off at 8 p.m., just so they can find the time to want to do other things like read a book or build something, play with Legos, something constructive. So sometimes with my daughter, I'll say like, all right, even though she's almost 13, I'll say, all right, take turn, like, put your phone away, or, put your iPad away. Like, let's talk. Like, read to me. Like, I'll have to like force her to do these things, as opposed to I want it to be like sort of ingrained in my son to not, always be on his tablet.
Yeah, screen time. Yeah. I think it's not even like like a raising thing. I think it's just like our society in general, right? Like everyone either has the iPad or their iPhone or their Android or whatever they have, and we just screen time, right? We on screen so much, and for a lot of people, like it keeps us occupied and entertained. Same thing it does for toddlers and children and teenagers. So it's just more of like, yes, like one thing I want to implement, like when my daughter becomes a teenager and all that stuff like that, like no cell phones at the table, right? Like when we eat dinner and stuff like that, because it and yeah, even for me, I just be like, oh yeah, like your phone, like I don't know if you ever left your phone at home and like you went into the office, like
oh yeah, no, I would always do my little check and go back get it.
Oh, you would go back? You never left it before?
Yeah, I would always go back.
No, I left it one time, and it was just like, it was like almost like withdrawal. Like I'm like every time I'm checking, I'm like, oh, I don't have it. Like it's like, but then you like, I may try it just once again, try it again sometime, but like we don't realize how attached we are to our phone. And we're like millennials, right? So we had like the first 13 years of our life with no phone. But just imagine our kids, like how hard is it to separate from that? So yeah, you're right. I think that's a good call out, because like we have to be intentional to make sure our kids are I mean, they're gonna be even more connected to it than us, because we had, at least through up to us being teenager, not having a phone. So scary.
Yeah, because like we know how to live without it, even though we've had it more than we had it. But I think even the memory of just not having it is enough to get to a point where we don't really need it. And don't get me wrong, it will be hard. Like you said, we go through withdrawal, but I know what it's like to, play board games or just and to never have a cell phone. Like, I know what it's like to go out with your friends and play. Like, you don't like, you don't really see, like we used to go outside in front and play. I don't see kids outside playing no more. Like either, I mean, unless they're at a park or something, but like, do kids go outside and play outside? Yeah, I rarely see that.
Yeah, it's a limited amount of neighborhoods that I like been around where I actually seen it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a small percentage than what it used to be, because that used to be the thing, right? Like as soon, like before, you go out to for dinner time, you went outside for a couple hours, and then your parents came dinner time or whatever, or coming to the house or something like that. I was just talking about it earlier today. I was telling them like, remember, since you're a year older than me, I remember when I couldn't cross the street, right? And you just had to get the ball. And then when my parents let me be able to cross the street, then he was like, oh man, you gotta get the ball all the time and stuff like that. So we used to just go outside all the time. That used to be the thing. And now it's just like your phone, iPads, but video games were, when we started, like it took off like crazy. But now it's just like it's a whole nother world now. Like
people making livings off of it. Like,
no, but the craziest thing that I see now is that people pay to watch other people play games.
Yo, I was watching this T-Pain clip, and he said that he makes more money playing video games, like streaming it, than he did making music.
Yep. People love to pay watching other people play. It's crazy.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you can kind of get lost in it, because I watched, because I still play Halo, and so one time I was like, let me just go on Halo. Somebody look up some tips, because I was trying to get nice, whatever. And I really was like, I was engaged. I was engaged for like a good 30 minutes.
Yeah, because I could see why it's like a vlog. It's kind of like a vlog with video games in the same time, because they talk about topics and stuff. So it builds like a community, but it's just crazy that, I mean, back in the day, we used to argue about who getting the worst controller and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? And stuff.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
people are paying to watch other people play the game, right? It's just crazy. Like
Yeah.
over what 2 decades, how stuff has changed so much. So it's just crazy. But yeah, definitely less screen time. Being mindful of screen time is definitely, you know, a great lesson. So, yep.
But you mentioned confidence, and
Yep.
you know, so my daughter's almost 13, and you know, confidence isn't something that I always had. It took me a while to be fully confident in myself, or to like learn how to remember to be confident. Um, and when, you know, as my daughter gets older, like I see that that is something that I know that I need to instill in her sooner, you know, in life. But I find it difficult. I do. It's challenging. Um, I'm trying to figure out like different ways to get it. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, I think that the more I talk to her, the more she gets it. But I will say that it is a challenging part of parenting, is to teach your children how to be confident and to get them to the point where they are confident.
So what are ways that you act would you doing it?
You know, just constantly of like
Affirmations.
like constant
Mm-hmm.
affirmations, and it's just like a barrage, and helping her realize that she is powerful herself. Like, right now, like I believe that I used to be an easy dad on her. Like, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
always gave her what she want, but like now I'm finding that I need to kind of turn those gears off a little bit, and get her to think.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, affirmations. I think that's number one, right? And then also just like your presence, right? Presence is also there, right? Like, um, and her knowing that, you know, she's capable of anything, and also allowing them to try stuff, right? Like, I just was running outside with my daughter, and like she fell mad times, and you know, not like, oh my God, what's happening? I'm just like letting her like see her, you know,
Figure it
pick
out.
herself out and everything like that, and just letting her keep on going. And yeah, she fell like 4 or 5 times, and she was just like, she kept on going, right?
So how hard was it for you not to pick her up when she falls?
It depends. I like kind of look at her to see like if it actually hurts, right? Because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
like parents will make the kid think it hurts when it actually doesn't. And I think
yeah,
that's like a life lesson when parents are navigating through their like raising their child. Like, don't put something on them that they're not even thinking about themselves.
yeah,
So yeah, so we just watch, and she gets back up, and then she kept on running, right? And every time she do it, just make sure, you know, nothing, you know, she didn't break, cartilage, or, you know, got a scrape or anything, and she,
yeah,
you know, fine, she kept on running. And I think, you know, just using that example, I'm trying to make sure I like implement that throughout, you know, raising her, because it's your knee-jerk reaction is to be like, are you okay,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But sometimes you just gotta like look back and see how they react first before you
yeah,
react first, you know?
yeah. It's also like a challenge to, I guess, not be in the mindset of, oh, I have to save my child all the time, because sometimes you have to let them fall and figure out how to get up themselves. Because there's going to come a point when you can't help them figure out how to get up and they're going to have to figure it out themselves. And I think that that's kind of the beginning of that growth. And you know, so I noticed with my son, like, you know, there are very few times where he falls, and I you know, pick him up and console him. Like, with his mother, he knows that he could cry, and then she'll pick him up, and you know, she'll do her thing. No, get me wrong. A mother's, please, like, I want her to keep doing that, because that's important. But with me, I feel like I need to be a little tougher with him in that respect, just because he's a male, you know, just because he's going to be a black male in America. Um, that falling and getting up part is something that he's going to have to do his entire life. You know, that's a part of just being a human, right? Yeah, but like I said,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I'm man, this like I'm thinking about when you talk about the screen time, like the social media aspect, like just raising your children. I'm like,
Did you
I
see
mean,
Euphoria? Nah.
Euphoria. Oh wait, what's that? Is that on HBO?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I saw some of it. I think I saw. Yeah,
That make you that honestly, bro. If you haven't seen it already, don't see it. But I will say that it's scary. It's scary when you think about what these kids now have to deal with. The amount of drugs in high schools and the amount of sex that they're exposed to in high school and the access to sex. And it's just it's scary, man.
I can't even think about it, man.
Yeah, bro. Like, trust me, it's scary.
I know, man. How do you like cope with like the anxiety of
I don't. Because it's a constant worry. Because you
right?
think about it, like they have TikTok, they have
Which
Instagram, they have Facebook.
I don't think any child should be. I don't even. I was trying like even with like our account like just to post and stuff like that and everything. I'm like, yo, like some of this stuff like you shouldn't be watching all the time, like or seeing and stuff like that. So I
Yeah,
deleted the app. I'm like, I'm not entertaining myself with this
yeah,
app.
yeah,
Like, and imagine if you're like young adolescent, because people just want to go viral. I mean, the whole algorithm is like basically post something to go viral, right? It's
yeah,
one
yeah.
algorithm with it, and it's just people will post or say whatever they need to like go viral, and
Yeah.
it's just like, it's scary, man.
It's crazy because like you go on TikTok and you see like these beautiful women with like and I guess the thing is them being in bikinis, and then I'm like, as a teen boy, if I would have had this, like what the
Never leave the house.
I can't imagine what these teen boys are going through right now. Like they're I I mean it's I'm speechless. And then the women that are on there, like I'm like, these are somebody's daughters. Like I'm like, if their fathers knew that they was on this thing half naked like
Or
this.
yeah, or just like if you're watching it, right, you're like, okay, that's what I should do to get attention as well, right?
Yes,
Like it
yes,
forces that, right? We see
yeah,
for our generation, right, where it's like you're on Instagram, someone posts something, you're like, oh, you got FOMO, and you're like, oh, I wish I had that, or like I got to keep up with the Joneses, or I got to post this, I got to do that. Like we already, subject to it. So just imagine with this like TikTok generation with what they're subject to. So it's just, I think it's very important, like as parents, like screen time and like watching like what our children consume on these platforms is like something that's important. But
but the
one of
scary
the
part is that you can't really see what they're consuming all the time because like that you would literally have to be over them, standing over them, looking at their phone while they're looking at it. Like it's impossible to do that all day, every day. So it's like you have that in between where you just gotta, I guess, get to a point to teach them that as best as you can.
yeah, and limit it. All you can do is limit the amount, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's the goal, right? To limit as much, and then block access with certain things, right? Like
yeah,
parental accounts. Well, I ain't look at them yet, but like yeah, you only can watch this, or you only can watch that, or you only can these words you type in you can't view, right? Like it gets deep like that, especially with Apple. But yeah, it's definitely tough. But I was thinking as far as like other things I wanted to talk or teach my daughter is about like saving and like money principles. So
mhm,
like right now, like she, has like a piggy bank, and like, every time like go in the store, just make sure that she knows like everything costs money, right? Nothing's free, right? Like, um, and I'll like give her like, my card, but like, hey, we gotta pay, like you gonna pay this time. And then I give the card and like she put it in. So she knows like there's a cost to everything.
mhm.
And then we also got her like a cash register, right? So like she'll scan it and scan, so she knows like you gotta use a card or something like that to pay. You can't just walk out and like and nothing's with it. But I definitely like what like lessons I want to teach is one of the examples that I heard at this conference was this grandmother, right? And I'm just thinking like when my child like goes starts working or something like that, right? And I'm like, oh, you got a job, oh, you got to pay rent now or something like that, right? And I'm gonna take the money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then I'm gonna save it over some time, right? So let's say she gets like a summer job in June. I'm like, oh, you got to pay rent. It's, $15 a month or something like that, and just collect it until she start working. And at the end, give it all back to her and be like, hey, like, teaching her like saving, right? And different things like that. And I thought that was dope when the grandmother did it to her grandson, and he was like, oh, I gotta pay, and he paid it, and then they saved throughout the year and then gave it right back to him. And it's like, this is the importance of saving. And then like he was like flabbergasted. I'm like, yo, that's a dope tool and stuff like that. So yeah, the importance of saving, the importance of like just like investing in yourself, right? Like, businesses too, right? Because you remember when we were young, we used to sell like some stuff and everything like that, but just like enforcing that more, right? Like lemonade stands or whatever it is, like just the entrepreneurship side of it, right? Like building that, like teaching them about that is important. I think I'm going to do as well, because I did it, one-offs and different things, but like having something that we're trying to create, constantly. So like she thinks about like being a business owner.
Yeah, I mean, I see why you feel like that's important, because our society is a business society. Like capitalism is really the way our society works, and you're teaching her capitalism at an early age. In a sense, you're teaching her that it's important to have a business and not be a worker. I mean, because essentially you're a worker, you're confined, you're unfortunately in a maze, given the context of capitalism. But you mentioned that you want her to know that everything has a cost. Why?
Okay, so I was having this conversation earlier today too. So remember when we were growing up, when did you go out to eat?
When did I? Not much, but maybe it was like a special occasion to go out.
Yes. Okay. So now, like, obviously we're a consumer driven economy, right? But we used to only go out to eat like birthdays and graduations, right? For the most part, right? Anniversaries, maybe, or something like that. It was a treat. Exactly. There used to be like one or two televisions. There was one phone. Tim's it was like I had one pair of Tim's, right? Like the materialism is crazy nowadays, right? And you growing up, they thought like I ain't have no money or anything like that, right? But now, like, if you really don't have any money, you still go out to eat. You still have the latest Apple product. You still have Jordans. You still have, different things. And I was saying like we like consume. I mean, I basically, my wife says all the time, like luxuries are now necessities, right? Based upon when we grew up. And I want her to know, like, one, like she needs to know how we used to live back in the day. And then two, like we shouldn't be just spin, right? We got to be more conscious of everything has a price. And also like the more we spend, the less we can invest, the less we can, invest in yourself, your business, stock market, your family, right? So I definitely want her to be aware of it and just think about it. Like, it's just money doesn't come out of thin air, because that's how kids are today, right? Like everyone got what is it? Where we at? PlayStation 5 now or 4? I can't. I don't know which one. Yeah. So everyone, like kids that I know, like they have these stuff, and me and you, we used to have to wait like 2, 3, 4 years, and we shared games. Like you would have some other games, and we have other games, but now it's like it's so normal. I just be like, where is all this money coming from, right? If everyone's like living the same kind of like, and so it's just more of like, I'm thinking of that. Like, I need her to know this, like mommy and daddy does not just have money that we can throw anywhere and get you everything, right? And obviously like kids want everything, right? And we still going to give them more than what we had, but I think they have to be given context. You have to let them learn, like, hey, every time we go to the store, we can't get you something, or if we do go out to eat, like this is a treat, right? Like we there's some reward based system to it. But it's hard though, but I'm just like more mindful of it, right? Making sure that she knows it's a cost and everything like that, because of course eating out is like normalized and stuff like that. We do it, but it's just more of like we don't want it to be an everyday thing. We want it to be like, hey, Fridays, maybe Saturdays, like we're going out to eat, or we're doing something like that, but not like, hey, we just do it just because and stuff like that. And it's hard navigating it, but I'm just conscious of it because I know how we grew up, and everything that we thought was luxury is now like normal, and everyone's like, I got to do this. And we just sometimes have to step back and be like, okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking like date night. Like I never heard of my parents go on date night, and like people go on date night, they go on date night every week. Like that, the way dates cost now and how much they cost now. Come on, that date night stuff gotta add up to. Like,
I don't know how. I don't know. I'll be looking at these birthday parties. I'll be like, these birthday parties be looking like weddings and stuff like that. I'm like, do I gotta pay for my plate? Like, what's going on?
Yo, and then oh man, it's so true. It's so true. It's like, how often did you have a birthday party when you was little?
I remember the ages. Five was a major milestone, right? So I had Ninja Turtles, I had a clown, like, but it was at my house.
Yeah,
so it wasn't at a wedding venue.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, like my daughter was like, I gotta have a birthday every year, and I'm like, did you have a birthday every year? And I'm like, yeah, we did something every year for your birthday. Like I only got like 3 things, like 3 times. No, probably more than that, but it wasn't every year we celebrated my birthday. I'm just thinking of how things really just changed. Like, are we raising, like had the times that we created made this
entitlement? That's what it is. We have created. Our generation is more like, self-care, have fun, go on vacation, all stuff like that, right? Which, and with balance is fine, but we also want to make sure our kids have that same experience plus more.
Yeah.
So all it's gonna do is, like, when they get older, how we were when we graduated, we were like, we Black men graduated, we deserve the world. What do you think our kids are gonna be like?
Wow, that's scary.
Right? Because we didn't even get, we got, I would say 10% of what our kids are getting right now, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, if you don't think about it, like, and control it now, like, the entitlement is going to be through. They already call our generation the entitlement generation. So I don't know what our kids' generation is going to be. They have everything and more, right? So it's going to be interesting, but
what are you going to do though? Like, what, like, because like you said, society is so impactful. Like, you got your home environment, which will be, like, I guess in business terms, that'll be your internal environment. But that external environment, which is society in itself, that's a challenge to combat. Like, because kids always want to fit in. Like that's like the one thing that my daughter will talk about, is just wanting to fit in.
And I'm scared about that too, like, bro, fitting in.
It's coming, bro.
I'm just scared about it because I'm like, so like us, like our peers, right? Like, had the same mindset, right? On a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
In terms of maybe, video games, play basketball, stuff like that, right? But like, your peers that are part of, like, your raising experience, like it's like the same raising experience. So that's, depending on, like, who your, like, friends and stuff like that during that time, it could shape, like, oh, such and such got a new car, I want one too. You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
So or it could be the reverse, but like, hey, like, my father said I can't get a car until I graduate college. Oh, okay, I like that. That's really nice. Instead of like 16-year-olds getting the car 15, because I ain't getting no car in 15 or 16. So, but depending on where you live, you may have to get a car. So it's just like, it's a lot to think about, man.
And then you gotta think about all the responsibilities that they have with all these things at an earlier age. So you have so you have more responsibilities, then you have more distractions. How do they do it? How do they? Yeah. Boy.
I don't know. We need a millennial parents group chat.
Yeah, seriously.
We got to figure this out, man.
Stay strong, everybody.
We're trying, But if you have any opinions about raising millennial parents raising the next generation, feel free to add us on 30 to Life Pod or on Instagram, or go to our YouTube channel. Oh, let me talk about this, right? So our YouTube channel, we just launched it about 5 weeks ago. So if you like hearing us, you can now watch us, right? There's about 5 or 6 episodes on there now. So hit that subscribe button. You guys haven't been stingy on the podcast, but don't be stingy on YouTube either. So if you subscribe, make sure you share as well, right? And yeah, this is a barbershop talk episode. So the next couple episodes, we're gonna have some an actress. We're gonna have a venture capitalist on that episode too. So look out for those episodes. So I'm excited for those. Brown, I know you got some interesting questions to ask, right? So let's do it. And then we have some mental health advocates on as well. So, it'll be a little different topics that we're going to cover, but we appreciate everyone just listening to these episodes. We appreciate just the support, and we're going to continue redefining the Black experience. It's your boy Mookie.
And your favorite color in the world, brown.
And we out. 30 to life. Peace.